Hello everybody, Robert Marzullo here, and today I want to show you how to draw wrinkles and folds in clothing, and it can apply to clothing, drapery, uh, any kind of fabric, I guess. So a lot of things. This is what I want to explain. You've got area of influence, where it pinches together, kind of like what I'm drawing on right here, and then that's usually going to be your darkest point, your most defined point. And then once the folds and the bends start to flow outward, um, they're going to dissipate. Sometimes they're going to dissipate and then uh, constrict and be more intense in a certain area. So they're going to flow in and out of the object or the drawing, the shape, whatever. So you know, keep that in mind. That's what's going to give you your depth of the look of these folds and drapes or wrinkles or whatever. So, like this one over here is pretty much like a quick depiction of the folds going around an arm. We'll say this is the arm here. Here's a quick hand, something like that. And then obviously there'd be more shadow here underneath. The bend might come back and around. And uh, you want to look for shapes that pop out in any of your drawings. And I don't care if you're drawing, you know, arms, legs, drapery, cars, highlights on a window. There's always going to be certain shapes that stick out and look catchy and that work, and wrinkles and drapery are no different. One that I always see is this one right here, is where it's kind of a half moon shape, and then you draw your lines out, your shading from there, and you can almost just get away with that in a lot of cases. I see a lot of drawings where it might just come, somebody might do like this, like this, like this, like this. And what this is, after you start shadowing it, you put your shadow here, here, back and forth. You see that pattern? So all that is the area that's white, left white, is the highest point on the material. We'll say this is like a side of a leather boot or something. So that's the highest point of the material. This area where we're going to do our shading from the darker spot is the recess in the lower part of the material. By the size of the buckle, it looks like the material's pretty rigid, like a leather or something strong like that. And then, like say back here, you would kind of dissipate these back into the shape. So you could do like these lines that break apart, and it'll look like it's flowing back into the material. It's not just going to stop abruptly. So, and you just keep extrapolating onto that. So, say you've got I guess the shape would probably be more narrow here and widen out where the material's flowing back and bending around. So let's try that. And let's see. And I'm drawing this more in reverse to try to explain the shapes, but then when you shadow it, you'd probably shadow half through here, a little bit through there, maybe this whole piece. Let's try that. So the shadow would connect with all these pieces, and then you'd bring some line work out from the main shadow like this. And maybe a little highlight on the back of the material like that. So yeah, if you can kind of get where that's going, how I'm trying to explain, looking for these half moon shapes, or whatever you want to call them, you can kind of see them over here where, they just, sometimes they flow like this, and they're kind of a larger shape like that, and then the other one will bend against it like that, and maybe this one comes down like this, and again, then you break the lines off because you're trying to show that it's not staying the same consistent depth all the way through. It's going in and out of the form, and that's how you get that effect and that pattern. But looking for those patterns applies to everything. Like one that I noticed with trying to draw hair, and hair is very similar, so I'll touch on that real quick. Um, when you're drawing hair or, you know, material like this, you kind of use like these ribbon effects. So if you keep doing these flowing ribbons, you know, you start getting kind of these hair shape, and then you just kind of keep going with that and grab what areas look cool and shadow them and bring them out of uh, the spectrum, the drawing, and you know, do away with others. You don't want to do too many where it looks like you're drawing every strand of hair. So you'd erase some, and there goes your highlights or whatever. So within just a few short, sketch lines, there's hair. Well, the same thing applies to uh, your your fabric. Especially if you're into drawing like really cool capes for your superheroes or whatever you're doing. Say you've got this cape, you've got again, I call this the area of influence where it pinches together. I don't know if that's correct, I'm just calling it that. But then when it rolls around, say the shoulder, you're going to have a different shape and effect there. And then once it comes down, gravity starts to pull it downward, but then maybe wind or effect starts to blow it outwards. And then you're going to, again, here's your swirling ribbon effect now. And then the very ends of it, just for looking for coolness sake, you just kind of do this, overlapping, these buckles that overlap and swing back and forth, because that's going to give you the ability to do this and create some cool shadowing and effects. So you just kind of throw those in there for the heck of it, just so you can do some cool shading and really make it look, more depthy. And then you just grab areas of it that you're trying to add depth to and add shadow. So, you define your light source always. So always draw your light source. We'll say LS, light source. And then imagine how the light is going to react on that and where it's going to cast the shadow. And on those areas that you're trying to bring out, sketch in that larger piece of shadow. And remember, like we just said a minute ago, it's flowing in and out of depth. So you don't want one consistent shadow through the entire thing all the way up. You want some broken up shadows, some broken up lines, and obviously more shadow where it's further away from the light source, like so. Totally black back here where it's covered by the fold there. And then by interweaving those shadows, you're going to get more of an illusion of depth and a flowing object. Like that. And maybe here where it's over the shoulder, you do like some shadow lines. Try to always go with the shape of the flow of the wrinkles. It looks a little more natural, I think. You can do some cross hatching in the other direction, but you want to kind of maybe make that only look like it's the shadow lines, not the drapery themselves, obviously. So you don't want to confuse the viewer with that. I've noticed that it looks the coolest when you keep everything going with that direction. It adds to the flow of it. So maybe something like that. There's just a quick and from a distance now it looks like hair almost too. So you can see the way that those two would kind of correspond, where you could almost utilize that effect on both. And let's see, what would be another one. The other thing to keep in mind is based on the material that you're drawing. Like for instance, up here, this almost looks more like a heavier coat. Maybe a leather or just a thicker coat material. As to where here, if you do more lines, more pinches in the material, it's going to look like a thinner, maybe what do you call it? Just a thinner sheet material, polyester, something like that. So based on the way that you shade it and the amount of drawings or lines or detail is going to also determine probably the rigidness of the material that you're drawing. So keep that in mind when you're sketching this stuff out. And let's see what else. Again, remembering to see the shapes and everything that you draw. Anything where you can start seeing the negative shapes, meaning the shadows, and practice drawing just the shadows, not drawing the lines, you're going to get a better feel for the way that that material works. And I think that sticks in your brain a little bit better. Correct me if I'm wrong. Some people, do better drawing lines. Some people probably do better drawing shadow. Some people could probably even draw a little bit better in negative, which I can. I struggle with that, meaning drawing the white first, But you should practice each because it's going to give you a better idea of what those forms look like and what they do. Um, so yeah, so one last one I'll do just a quick t-shirt. So I want to show uh, the way on a t-shirt or something how it would pinch under the arm like this. There's your area of effect, and then it would flow out, maybe drape down and buckle down where it tucks into the pants. Maybe a few loose flow lines if it's a bigger shirt. That again, area of influence under the arm if the arms are, I guess, more pressed forward. A couple little bends there. And then from there, it just depends on the shading. And then again, based on the way that you shade it, the amount of shadowing, I would probably do my bulk shadow first, which would come through here, around here, and I would probably shade that all down first, like so. And then I would come back and add my details and my shorter shadows or, whatever. But I always try to designate my overall lighting first and then add my details, because if you do it the other way around, it kind of gets mumbo jumboed a bit, and you just want to, you know, never lose track of your light source. It's real important with these drawings. So there's that. Your little chest wrinkles there. Draw your little lines for, your detail lines. Always keep those thinner, like your stitching lines, and make sure too you don't forget to do your thick to thin lines around your object. That helps define the shape, and I think that does the most in the shortest amount of time for making your object look more rounded. And that's really it. And just play with it. Draw wrinkles around all kinds of different things, and also around all different types of shapes. So practice drawing the wrinkles and draperies around cylinders, tables, like a tablecloth. Obviously capes. That's the one I practice the most because I like drawing superheroes. So whatever the case may be, just practice. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And if you got any questions, feel free to pop them in there and I'll answer them. Also, please check out the Blackstone comic book, which you can watch on here and at Ram Studios 1 DeviantArt. Please like the videos and subscribe so I can keep doing this kind of stuff for you, and we can keep progressing along and keep learning as artists together. So hopefully this helped you, and I appreciate you watching, and have a great day. Keep drawing. Bye bye.